Hey, what's going on, guys? It's Jalan coming back with another episode of my weekly recap. It's 2019, it's a fresh year, and I think I want to keep the momentum going, keep the ball rolling with this weekly recap because I think I gained a lot from this in 2018. I just want to carry the momentum and just keep on grinding and then keep on documenting my process. And because I know that why I'm doing it, it's not because of the views or the likes. It's to hold myself accountable, and so that I can look back in 5 to 10 years to see the amount of progress I've made with this journey. So that's the only reason why I'm keep doing it, and I love it. I love doing it. So it almost becomes a habit of mine now to push out one of these every week, and it's something that you do just in my routine now. So without further ado, I know it was a little bit rambling on at the start of the episode, so I just want to, without further ado, let's get straight into it. Um, Coming off the new year, it was a short week at work. Had a lot of time to reflect on my 2018, and I made a video on that, just evaluating and reflecting some of the wins and losses. What were some of the big lessons I had? And that was a quite long video, and I found it very insightful. And I'm definitely going to be looking back at that, revisiting that quite often. So, like I mentioned, it was a short week at work, just basically doing a lot of the memory leak fixes, as well as migrating the the test infrastructure that we have to a new feature that we are releasing. So we had to adjust the test to make sure that it properly tests new features as well as the regression that we had from our previous releases. So keeping me busy, and that's my role. So I'm just playing the support role with that. And today is Monday, right? I went to work and overheard that some of the people were leaving, and I didn't realize that. It was kind of took me by surprise. I didn't. Well, honestly, I don't know what's happening in people's lives and what's happening, right? But I did overhear that some of the people in my surround cubicle were leaving, so I thought that was pretty surprising. Who knows? Wish them the best, even though I didn't personally interact or work with them, and just wish people the best. So that's pretty much all I did this past week at work. It was pretty a slow week. So transitioning into other topics, this week was my first weekend. This past weekend was my first weekend of back at basketball refereeing. I absolutely love it. I can't believe the season is finally here, and I really love doing that because it gives me a chance to get away from engineering and really do something I love, which is sports. At the same time, it gives me the opportunity to work on some of the leadership skills and the authority skills and the other skills that I wouldn't have the chance to develop outside of engineering. So really, really love doing it. And as a matter of fact, I did have an altercation, and that's one of the things I really want to get better at, is handling those situations and learning how I could be better, learning my emotions and how I can predict and prevent those things from happening because any altercation that happens in my course, my responsibility. I didn't do a good enough job to control the game, right? And I take full responsibility in that. So just got to be better, right? Just got to learn from my mistakes and reflect on what had happened and how I could have altered the result, the outcome of the game a little bit differently. So it's all on me. I want to be better. So it's a learning process. Every week I'm gonna get better and better, and I'm gonna love that process. So that's what I've been doing this past weekend. And also at the same time, I started reading a lot more. I'm actually more than halfway done with Principles that I'm reading for the second time. I'm really loving the content that Ray is providing and learning from how he built this tremendous organization and this culture that he has with Bridgewater and the principles behind why he made it so successful. So, and ultimately, there are a lot of things that you can learn from here that you can apply at work or in everyday interactions or in your relationships. So that's why I love learning from the best of the best. From the unicorns. He's definitely one of the unicorns out there. So can't wait to start Big Debt Crisis soon. And aside from that, yesterday I did catch up with one of my buddies from my first internship. It's been a year and a half since I saw him. It was awesome catching up with him, hearing his stories, and just reconnect with him again. And throughout our interactions, I think one of the proudest things that I saw was that we didn't reach out for our phones at all. It was real. We wanted to connect with each other. There weren't any distractions. It was an evening where we were able to reconnect and get to know each other a lot more, share the stories that had happened in this year and a half. What were the fun things? What were the challenging things? And really connect on the same frequency, which I thought was super, super valuable in my opinion. And after that, we went out to bowling and had a ton of fun in that. And the competitive side of me came out. I really wanted to win. So, and I'm thankful to have such a eventful evening with him, and look forward to hanging out with him a lot more and just be there for each other and just learn a friend and be transparent, be open and care and be interested in who he is as a person and what's going on in his life, and how I can be that that friend, who we can depend on each other in certain situations. So really value and treasure those relationships once you do have them, because they're rare. They're super rare. And it's got to be a mutual benefit that we both want it. So look forward to continuing on to that relationship and be there for each other. So, and the last thing I really want to touch on is some of the goals lists that I have for 2019. So in the past, I've never really been a person who writes down their goals, who kind of just go on the fly, right? And I think there are definitely some things that I want to check off this year. One of them being continuing on to this weekly series and hold myself accountable. I think some of the other things I want to conquer more is some of my fears, which are also excitements. I really want to go skydiving. I think that is something that I fear the most, and I think once I conquer that, and just from hearing my friend's story yesterday and get to know what that experience was like, and him sharing that, it was very valuable and what makes me want to do it. this upcoming year is definitely on my list. Um, and at the same time, I want to do some bungee jumping. Do something crazy. Just really want to eliminate the fear that I have that's been put in my brain. I really want to take that out and maybe learn how to swim again. Because I was never really a good swimmer, and maybe that's something I should, if I have the opportunity, to work on. And I also wanted to go on a summer garage sale grind, where I want to see how hard I can go, going out there consistently every single week, and see how it's not really about the money, but it is about the process. It's about the grind, about not making excuses for doing what you want to do, or making excuses on what you don't have, rather just put in the work, right? And I think I've already started doing that, and doing a lot of research on eBay's and all these different platforms, and seeing what's trending and what are people spending money on. Is doing the homework, so that I'm better prepared when summer comes, and knowing what to look forward. So definitely going to be doing that when the summer hits. And I think there's always going to be more goals, and I think the last goals I want to touch on is maybe to read one book per month. I know personally I'm a very slow reader. For a 600-page book, it's been taking me about a month to get through, because I don't read on a consistent basis. Which I should do that a lot more. But I pick the mornings to read, and evenings as well. So I wanna check that off. If it's one book per month or 12 books in 2019. So that's kind of like my goal. There's always going to be more when time comes, and things comes and goes, right? So I just want to keep on growing and learning, and create more connections with people who wants to be there and bring more value to others, and be authentic and transparent and open-minded. Be more of that in 2019. So that's pretty much all I want to touch on in this first episode of my weekly recap in 2019. So hope everybody had an awesome start of the 2019, and make it their best year ever. And I love you guys, and I'll talk to you guys soon. See ya.